research and the publication. Under his leadership, the University of Mysore continued to uphold the legacy of quality of education, innovation, and the research responsiveness to the contemporary challenges. So, Professor Loknath is known for encouraging high standard of research, urging the scholars to produce more anonymous research work to meet the global standards and to foster intellectual growth across the disciplines. We are deeply honored, sir, to have you with us, presiding over this function and guiding this august function according to your vision and experience. We extend a warm welcome to Professor L.K. Loknath, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore. I request Dr. Anita C., Organizing Secretary of National Conference of Home Science 2026, to welcome the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor L.K. Loknath, by our faculty. Thank you, Dr. Anita. The one more great personality we have here with us, Professor Halse, a distinguished academician, seasoned administrator, visionary leader, on top of it, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Open University, Mansangangotri, Mysore. Over the year, Professor Halse sir has contributed significantly to the academic development, institutional strengthening, and even the policy implementation in the university governance. So, under his able leadership, Karnataka State Open University continued to enhance academic standards, promote the digital learning initiatives, encourage the research activity, and fosters industry-academia collaborations. His focus on innovation, inclusivity, and the learner-centric education has further strengthened the university's missions. Sir, we are deeply privileged to have you with us today, and his esteemed presence truly enriched this occasion. I request our Registrar Madam, N.K. Savita Madam, to offer a sapling as a memento of welcome. Thank you, Madam. It is indeed my great honor and privilege to extend a warm and respectful welcome to Professor Bharati Harishankar Madam from Honorable Vice Chancellor of Avinash Lingam Institute of Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore, from Tamil Nadu. As you all aware, Avinash Lingam University, a pioneer university of home science and a women's education, has carved a unique identity in the field of home science, especially in India. And especially when you're going to say home science, everybody say Avinash Lingam is the premier institution which is extending the home science in food science and nutrition, textiles and fashion design, education with allied disciplines of home science and also other science and other. See, in the University of Avinash Lingam, I've seen starting from the daycare center till the higher education, how the various innovations, the contribution was given for the women empowerment. And here I would like to take Amma's name, Dr. Rajamal P. Devdas. She was the founder who has contributed a lot. Even she was the one who inaugurated our department at Mansangangotri. So, as I mentioned, it is a strong foundation we can see in the Avinash Lingam University, which has highlights the value-based education, and even the community engagement activities were highlighted. So university has consistently contributed to the research, innovation and women empowerment at national as well as international level. So madam, your distinguished academic leadership and unwavering commitment to the women's education, research, excellence and community empowerment have significantly strengthened the legacy of your institution, and we are deeply honored by your gracious presence, and your participation definitely adds immense value and inspiration to this august gathering. It is my privilege to extend a warm and respectful welcome to Professor Ashok Alur sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodagu University, Kodagu. Professor Alur sir is a distinguished academician and administrator with a rich experience of higher education, mainly focusing on agriculture and extension field. Under his leadership, as a founder, Vice Chancellor of Kodagu University, he is putting a lot of efforts in developing and strengthening its academic framework, promoting the research culture and expand the opportunities for the students in emerging and interdisciplinary field. Sir, we are deeply honored by your gracious presence today, and your participation truly enriches this occasion, and we extend our heartfelt welcome to you, sir. So I request Dr. Hemlata, HOD, Department of Studies and Research in Food Science and Nutrition, Karnataka State Open University, to welcome Professor Ashok Alur sir by offering a certificate as a token of welcome. So here comes the one more great personality, the guest of honor of today's function, the keynote address by the Dr. V. Prakash, Padma Shri Awardee, an eminent food scientist, well renowned in India as well as at international level, and sir is a very distinguished academic leader. So Dr. V. Prakash sir, as you all know, formerly a director of CFTRI, sir has recognized for his outstanding contribution to the food science and nutrition research, and even the institutional development, mainly with a science focus. His visionary leadership, dedication to advancing the scientific research have significantly influenced the academic and research landscape in India as well as in abroad. His expertise and guidance continues to inspire the scholars and the professionals across the discipline and globe. See, under his talk, I think keynote address, you will know how much the sir is very thoughtful in moderating the ideas, the visions, and what type of scholarly guidance which definitely shapes and directs the young minds who are all present here. Sir, we are deeply honored and privileged by your gracious presence today. Your participation adds definitely an immense value and inspiration for all these gatherings. So I request Ms. Shraddha, Joint Organizing Secretary of NCHS, to welcome Dr. V. Prakash sir by offering the sir. It is indeed my pleasure to extend warm and respectful welcome to Srimati Savita Madam, Registrar of University of Mysore. Madam, really we are very honored to have you with us because your dedicated administrative leadership, commitment to the academic governance play a very vital role in strengthening our institution, that is university, to the institutional excellence. We are really honored by your gracious presence at this function, ma'am. I welcome you and I request Mr. Pawan, Joint Organizing Secretary, to offer the thank you. Thank you. In the absence, due to some other emergency work, we couldn't have Professor Naveen Kumar, Registrar of University of Karnataka State University. In his absence, I extend my respectful welcome to Professor Naveen Kumar. I also take this opportunity to extend a warm and respectful welcome to the esteemed Vice Chancellors and the Directors who are seated in the front row, starting from Professor Suresh H. Jagamshetty, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, University of Haveri, Professor M.R. Gangadhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Chamrajnagar University, Dr. Arindam Das, Director of Shrishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design, Technology, Professor Aparajita Chaudhary, former Vice Chancellor of Ramadevi University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I welcome all the Honorable Vice Chancellor and the Directors to this. A special and heartfelt welcome to our eminent plenary speakers, Professor Jamuna Prakash Madam, Professor Jyoti Bhaskar, Managing Director of Bangalore Press, Professor Dr. Vishnu, Professor Renuka Medi, Registrar Aviation from Haveri University, Professor Pushpa Khadi, eminent professor at University of Agricultural Sciences, Professor Jaigauri, head from the Avinash Lingam, Dr. Sujaya Mahesh from the Samiksha School of Design, Director and Founder Director, another eminent scholar, very elderly, a senior most home science professional, Dr. Shakuntala Mane is with us even at the age of 90 years. Madam has authored many books and we are very fortunate to release one of her books in this gathering. Welcome, ma'am. So I extend my heartfelt welcome to each and everyone who are directly, indirectly responded to me, physically present here to support me in various ways. I welcome each and everybody, like in the capacity of the chairperson of the various technical sessions. You are all going to contribute in one way or the other for our conference. So I welcome everyone. I definitely hope we will going to have a meaningful discussion and inspire productive outcomes. I extend a warm and respectful welcome to the esteemed syndicate members of University of Mysore, Karnataka State Open University, respected deans, dedicated teachers, distinguished scientists who are all present here today. And I know your commitments to the academic governance, scholarly excellence, research advancement for the foundation of institutional growth. I also extend my heartfelt welcome to the valued delegates. You are all the beneficiaries, you are all the center of attraction, and I welcome the respected colleagues from various universities, institutions across India, because we have a participation from Assam, Chandigarh, Punjab, then even from SNDT, Delhi, Mumbai, then Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, I think nearly from 15 states we are having a delegates. I welcome everybody wholeheartedly. I extend my welcome to my own beloved students of Department of Studies in Food Science and Nutrition. You are the great supporter to me in organizing this. And my colleagues from the teaching faculty, non-teaching faculty, you are all very great support. I welcome you all to this function. I believe everybody's presence, participation, support are integral for the success of this kind of a mega event. The enthusiasm, whatever you people are showing, and what type of cooperation support you have extended, and what kind of an outreach support you are showing to me collectively has influenced on this, making this academic event grand success. Last, it is the media persons. They are the ones who always help us in reaching the community. So I welcome all the media persons to this NCHS conference. As a convener of National Conference of Home Science, it is my bonded duty to introduce the theme of the conference. So this is a two-day national conference on the theme Ecological Approaches for Resilient and Transformative Home Science, with a tagline Empowering Sustainability Through Science and Community Engagement. So this is the conference which really highlights the global environmental challenges and evolving the societal needs, disciplines of home science, which stands for the pivotal juncture, that is where bridging the ecological consciousness with the human well-being. So, empowering the sustainability through science and reaching the community through various community engagement, highlighting the need for re-imaging the discipline as a catalyst for a sustainability, innovation, social responsibility. Home science with a multi-dimensional focus on food science, nutrition, human development, family studies, textiles and apparel design, family resource management and communication, extension education. All these provides the integrated pathway for the sustainable living of mankind. By adapting the ecological principles, disciplines can drive the meaningful change from promoting the sustainable food systems, responsible consumption, green design, fostering the family resilience and community empowerment, and all these you can notice under the various themes of this conference. Here we have a discipline-specific themes. I will not go in detail with presenting the themes, and I just would like to give the this conference has received more than 350 plus registration. Out of this 350, 50 are coming online and 300 are going to be present physically. More than 200 plus research papers, educational articles have been presented here in this conference. And another important fact which share with you all that we have soon after the inauguration, we have a distinguished experts panel discussion where the Honorable Vice Chancellors of various universities and the directors are going to take up this issue and they are going to interact with you all. Then altogether we have 5 plenary sessions. So 5 eminent speakers are here. They are going to talk from their areas, that is disciplines of home science. And we have a total 11 technical sessions. And mainly 7 to 8 technical sessions are there for the oral presentation and 2 poster presentations. So altogether, along with that, one more, the 10 professionals from all the 5 disciplines of home science, both academicians, industrialists, policy makers, all those people will also going to take one more panel discussion and they are going to take up some policy issues decisions. So with all these things, like as we have come to the end of my welcome talk, as we gather under the divine's guidance and the collective wisdom present here in this August gathering, I am confident that this conference will spark meaningful dialogues, innovation ideas and lasting collaborations too. Hope this NCHS 2026 may help us to propose and bring out a home science declaration for the sustainability and the transformative home science, where we are trying to get the knowledge from science and try to reach the unreached with the community activities. So once again, I welcome everyone to this NCHS conference and wish the program great success. Thank you, one and all. Namaskar.
On behalf of the organizing committee, I warmly welcome Professor Komla and Ma'am to this conference. Arive Guru, Arive Linga, Arive Janama, Arivilla Davano Andhana, Kodala Sangamadeva. Light symbolizes knowledge, wisdom, and the removal of ignorance. We are especially blessed by the divine presence of His Holiness Jagadguru Dr. Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji to inaugurate this conference by lighting the lamp. I request all the dignitaries on the dais to join for the lighting of the lamp. Thank you, all the dignitaries. With deep reverence, I request His Holiness Jagadguru Dr. Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji to deliver the inaugural address. Yomapitam Devendra, Nadavikrapitam, Honorable guests, distinguished dignitaries on and off the dais, academicians, eminent scholars, faculty, dear students and participants. It is immensely joyful to be part of this unique event today. We extend our warmest greetings to all present at this pivotal national seminar and ecological approaches for resilient and transformative home science. It is truly inspiring to see scholars and practitioners convene to discuss sustainability, resilience, and community empowerment, topics that transcend academic discourse and represent profound responsibilities. Humanity currently faces a critical crossroads. Environmental degradation, climate instability, depletion of natural resources, and unsustainable consumption patterns threaten the very existence. In these challenging times, science must transcend the confines of laboratories and knowledge must evolve beyond textbooks. Knowledge should transform into wisdom, wisdom should guide action, and action should serve society. Home science as a discipline holds a unique and influential position in this transformation. It connects science with everyday life, research with relationships, and innovation with implementation. It begins at the household level but extends to the community, the nation, and the world. When homes become centers of sustainable practice, societies naturally become resilient. Ecological approaches remind us that humanity is not separate from nature but part of an interconnected web of life. True resilience emerges when lifestyles align with ecological principles, reducing waste, conserving resources, promoting nutrition security, encouraging sustainable textiles, strengthening local economies, and fostering mindful consumption. These are not merely environmental strategies, they are ethical commitments. The theme of this seminar rightly emphasizes both scientific and community engagement. Scientific advancement must be compassionate. Research must be responsive to grassroots realities. Policies must be informed by life experiences. When communities actively participate in this process, it paves the way for more sustainable and resilient future. May this two-day seminar generate meaningful dialogue, innovative research directions, and practical frameworks that empower individuals and communities alike. Heartfelt congratulations to the organizers for the conceptualizing and bringing forth this timely seminar under the leadership of the two distinguished Vice Chancellors from two renowned universities of Karnataka, the University of Mysore and Karnataka State Open University. Professor L.K. Lokanath, an acknowledged scientist and accomplished academic administrator, stands as an example of scholarly excellence. Equally inspiring is Professor Sharma Kahalse, whose steadfast advocacy for higher education, accessibility, including his call for free education for all, reflects his commitment to social upliftment. It emphasizes on integrating technology, skill development, and career preparation for competitive examination resonates with the aspirations of today's youth. Besides, we also have with us Professor Ashok Rao,
Professor Gangadhar, Professor Bharati Harishankar, Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash, Srimati K. Savita, Dr. C. Anita, Associate and Organizing Secretary of NCHS, Vice Chancellors and former Vice Chancellors from other universities, and so many dignitaries who have brought an aura of academic warmth to the event. The success of the conference is also due to the tireless efforts of Professor M. Komala, the convener of this conference. The contribution of the organizing committee members are clearly visible in the seamless execution of this event, which promises to have a lasting impact on academic and institutional discourse. May your efforts bear fruit in the form of enlightened minds and sustainable actions. Best wishes for the success of this noble endeavor. We hereby declare the National Seminar inaugurated. May all move forward. May all move forward together from awareness to action, from action to impact, and from impact to lasting transformation. We wish the conference a very success and pray that Almighty bless one and all. Punctus of time.
We are deeply grateful for your enlightening words and blessings. We now proceed to the book release ceremony. May I now request Professor V. Bharati Harishankar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, National Indian Institute for Home Science and Higher Education, Overman, to kindly release the book titled Food Facts and Principle, authored by Dr. Shakuntala Mani, Senior Home Scientist, Professor, Head, Department of Food Science and Food and Nutrition, Srimati, PhD, Central Institute of Home Science, Bengaluru, and M. Shadakshari Swami, former Professor of Biochemistry, Bangalore University. And I request our dignitaries to join Professor Bharati Harishankar in releasing the book.
ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗು ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮದು ಅದೆಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಯಾವುದು ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನು ಏನೊಂದು ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಇದೆಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಇದು ಫುಲ್ ಸಂಜೆವರೆಗೇನೋ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಒಂದೇ ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಿ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಒಂದೇ ಸಾಕು ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು ಯಾರು ಒಪ್ಪಲ್ಲ ಕಣ್ಣು ಅದೇ ಯಾರು ಒಪ್ಪಾಡಿ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
I now request Professor Sharanappa V. Halse, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Open University, and dignitaries to kindly release the souvenir of National Conference of Home Science 2026.
ಹೌದಾ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದುಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಹಲೋ ಹಾಂ ಸರ್ ನಾನು ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮಂಜು ಸರ್ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ನಾನೊಂದು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಇದು ನಾನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸೈನ್ ಔಟ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತು ಸೊ ಅವ್ರು ಓಕೆ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ಗೆ ಕಟ್ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು ಸೊ ಆ ಥರ ಝೂಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಆ ಥರ ಎರಡು ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಹಾಂ ಅದೇ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲಾರ್ದು ನೀವೇ ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದು ಆ ಲಿಂಕ್ನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅದೇ ಯಾರಿಗಾರು ಮೇಡಮ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲಾ ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ.
I now request Honorable Professor Lokanath Sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, and Professor Sharanappa V. Halse, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Open University, to felicitate His Holiness ಜಗದ್ಗುರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶ್ರೀ ಶ್ರೀ ಶಿವರಾತ್ರಿ ದೇಶಿಕೇಂದ್ರ ಮಹಾಸ್ವಾಮೀಜಿ, ಜಗದ್ಗುರು ಶ್ರೀ ವೀರಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಮಹಾಸಂಸ್ಥಾನ ಮಠ, ಸುತ್ತೂರು ಶ್ರೀ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ, ಸುತ್ತೂರು, ಮೈಸೂರು.
ಹಲೋ, ಹಾಂ ಸರ್. ಹಾಂ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಶ್ರೇಯಸ್ ಅವರೇ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆ ಇದು
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Haveri University, and Professor Gangadhar Master, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Chandrasekhar University,
ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ
felicitate,
ಫುಲ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ತಗೊಂಡು
and Professor Ashok Alwasar,
ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodu University,
ಹಾಂ ಸರ್,
to felicitate His Holiness the Guru Dr. Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರೋಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಎಂಟೆ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಬೇಡ ನಾನು ಚಕ್ರಿ ಸರು ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಚಕ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ತಿಂಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಯ್ತಾ ನಾನಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಚಕ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ಬಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆ ಥರ ಸರಿ.
ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಆದಿತ್ಯ ನಾನು ಒಬ್ಬರು ಬರೋಕ್ಕೆ
ಸರ್ ಆದಿತ್ಯ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದೆ ಒಂಚೂರು ಬಂದು ಇರೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ. ಆವಾಗ ಚಕ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬೋದು.
ನಾನು ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ
ತಿಂಡಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್.
ಅದೇ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು.
ಹಲೋ,
ಇರಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್. ಇದು ಆದಿತ್ಯ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇನ್ಕೇಸ್ ಬಂದರೆ ಒಂಚೂರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಲೈವ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇಡಿ ಅಂತ ಒಂಚೂರು ಕಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್ ಒಂಚೂರು. ಅವಾಗ ಚಕ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ತಿಂಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದರೆ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಸರಿ ಸರ್ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ.
ಫುಲ್ ಡೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಹಂಗಿದ್ರೆ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಕೊಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೊಂದರೆ
With
ಇಲ್ಲ.
profound gratitude for His divine presence and blessings during the inauguration, we respectfully inform the gathering that His Holiness Jagadguru Dr. Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji will now be taking leave due to his prior commitments. We remain deeply thankful for His guidance and gracious presence this morning. I now invite Professor Sharanappa V. Halsesar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Open University, to deliver his special address.
Good morning to all. Two days national conference, ecological approach for the resilience and the transformative home science, empowering the sustainability through the science and community engagement respected Holy Miss Jagadguru Dr. Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Swamiji, Honorable Vice Chancellors, distinguished guests on the dais, esteemed guest faculties, members, researchers, students, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to one and all. It is a matter of immense pride and privilege for me to address this august gathering at this prestigious conference on ecological approach for the resilience and the transformative home science, empowering and the sustainability through science and community engagement. I extend my heartfelt welcome to each one of you who have come together to deliberate on the theme that is both timely and transformative. We are living in the era marked and environment, social and economic transition, climate change, resource depletions of food insecurity, mental health concern, and widening inequalities compel us to rethink the way we live, consume, and interact with our environment. In this context, university must emerge not only the centers for excellence in teaching and research, but also leaders of shaping the sustainable futures. The theme of the conference, a beautiful capturing this responsibility, ecological approach, reminds us that the human life is deeply interconnected with nature. They call the holistic thinking recognizing the food system, family well-being, textiles, housing, resource management, and community development are not isolated domains but the part of large ecological system. Home science as a multidisciplinary field is uniquely positioned to respond to these challenges. It integrates scientific inquiries with everyday life. It brings the laboratory research with the household practices. It translates the theory into community action through its diverse discipline, nutrition and dietetics, human development, family resource management, textile and apparel science and extension education. It contributes directly to build the resilience, individual and empowering the communities. Resilience today goes beyond the mere survival. It implies that the capacity to adapt, innovative and transform in the face of diversity, whether it is promoting the sustainable dietetics practice, reducing the food waste, encouraging the circular textile design, or fostering the emotional and the social resilience within the families. Home science provides the practice and the evidence-based solutions. As a university, we strongly believe that the sustainability must be embedded in our academic framework. Encouraging the interdisciplinary research that address the real world problems, promoting the community-based practice research models, integrating the sustainability principles into curricula, fostering the innovation and entrepreneurship that aligns with the ecological responsibility. Community engagement forms for this transformation, knowledge achieved is the highest value when it research the grassroots and improves the lives. Our faculty and the students must collaborate with the rural and urban communities, self-help groups, school help centers and the local organizations to co-center sustainable solutions. When the academic expertise beyond with the indigenous knowledge and lived the experience and outcomes are not only the impactful but enduring. This conference provides the powerful platform for the intellectual exchange and the collaborative network. The research paper, panel discussion and deliberation over these days will undoubtedly generate insights that inform the policy practice and pedagogy. In particularly, encouraging our young scholars to pursue the research, it is socially relevant, ethically grounded and the environmental consciousness. Let us also recognize that sustainability is not the destination but the continuous journey. It requires the commitment, innovation and collective action. As the educator and researchers, we carry the responsibility of nurturing the generation that values ecological balance, social justice and scientific integrity. In conclusion, I congratulate the organizing committee for envisioning and executing this meaningful conference. I extend my appreciation to all participants for contributing their knowledge and experience. May this gather inspire the transformative ideas, strengthen the partnership and the reform our shared mission for building the resilience home, empowering the community and the sustainable world. With a great optimism and the pride, I declare my wholeheartedly support for the objective of this conference and wish it grand success. It is very important for all the researchers. They have to be very careful about discussing all the discussion in 2 days. Always we know the higher education institutions, they carry the importance of teaching, learning, research and extension. For that, our younger generation, they have to be quality research, they have to do all these days what they are doing. The quality is very important. Without the quality they are doing the research, it is no use for the society. For that, I request all my young and energetic researchers, they have to do the original research and the research papers and contribute to the society. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Shakuntala Manana to address the gathering.
Dignitaries on the dais, Professor Komala has played a very pivotal role in the excuse of releasing this book, entrusted the responsibility that goes behind the book, before the book, and after the book. I would like to recall my past and be grateful to my father, who was the Vice Chancellor of Mysore University in 1964. It was his personality which has influenced me a great deal. In this occasion, I would like to remember even my sister, who is the director of
Speech and Hearing Institute, Shaila Janikam. Unfortunately, she is no more. I would like to recall these two people and also not escape the responsibility of the book that has been released. Dr. Komla asked me some time back that this book will be released. And I was wondering why it's being released in Mysore and not elsewhere. And now I see the background behind it. When Guruji of this particular function recalled my father. And it was in those days also, he was quite touched, but in connection with the work. So with these few words, without taking much time of all of you, I express my gratitude to all the people who are related in today's function, particularly Dr. Komla, and conclude my few words of being here and observing the release of the book. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for being here with us today. I now request Professor N.K. Loknath, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, to felicitate Professor Shakuntala Manana. Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor V. Bharati Harishankar Madam, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Avinashi Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, to address the gathering.
Namaskara to all the dignitaries on the dais and very, very important people who have gathered for this today national conference. I represent a university which, as far as India is concerned, kick-started home science as a rigorous academic discipline. But having said that, there is also a very special connection to Manas Gangotri, specifically because right through the late 80s and early 90s, Raniloka was my home away from home. So I probably spent more time at Raniloka and strolled along all the parks in Manas Gangotri as a much younger person. When Professor Rajendra Devdas introduced or nurtured home science as a discipline, the vision she had in front of her was an emerging nation, and the focus was on aligning the home and the world. Now, we stand at a threshold point where on the one hand we want to see a developed India, and for that developed India to become a reality, what is it that we should be taking? So on the one hand we are looking at the technological advancements, but any AI superpower should somehow be grounded in what happens at home, in the community, in the nation, and in the world. Given this scenario, I thought I would draw your attention to just two key terms in the theme of the conference, namely resilience and transformation. At one level, we may even look at resilience and transformation as conveying opposite ideas. Whereas, why would the organizer combine them into the theme of the conference? Resilience, in my opinion, is a reaction. If there is an emergency, we react. We cannot say, let me take all these philosophical, spiritual considerations and take a decision. We have to react. So resilience gets built over a period through reactions. But it posits a very important quality, namely agility. An agile person over time can also become a very resilient person. But when you look at transformation, transformation is not a one-off event. Transformation is a process. And that process comes out of our response, a systematic response, a response where we are saying, here is how we have responded, here are the standard operating procedures and protocols that we have followed, what are the tipping points there, learn from those and move forward. So a transformation is a process and more of a response that takes into account all stakeholders and primarily nature and the community engagements. So when we talk about resilience and transformation, for all the young scholars out there, when you do your research, are you looking for outputs? Then you can say, my sample size is this, the universe of my sample is this, and here are the data points that I can give you. But a home scientist cannot afford to do that because behind every number, every sample that you are looking at as output is a narrative, is a life. And how do we engage with that? That is where the idea of outcome. So when your research is undertaken, what is it and what change is it going to bring to the community? And balancing between this output and outcome is in fact what home scientists need to look for today, because we are no longer looking at very small sampling sizes. We are looking at large data sets which our AI can decipher for us in a matter of seconds. But what the AI deciphers, the home scientist has to look more critically to say what does it mean when it reaches the community. If this vision is what we hope to gain through interactions today and tomorrow, then the objectives of the conference is met. But have the objectives at the community and national levels met, global levels met? No. Whatever are the takeaways from this conference, those have to be applied to your lives, to your institutions, and to your communities. If we are able to do that, we could truly talk about being a home scientist who rules the world. And I do hope sincerely that our younger researchers, more matured scholars, seasoned academicians and academic governance people can together forge connections that will result not only in policy recommendations but also in minimizing the implementation gaps. So on that note, hearty felicitations
to Professor Pumla, Professor the Vice Chancellors for this opportunity, and best wishes to all of you as you take forward some key takeaways from this conference. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam, for your encouraging words. I now request Professor N.K. Loknath sir to felicitate Professor Bharati V. Harishankar. Thank you, sir. We now move to the inauguration of NCHS 2026 Expo. It is my privilege to invite Professor Ashok S. Alu sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Kodagu University, to kindly inaugurate the Expo by pressing the ceremonial button and formally declaring it open. With that symbolic gesture, the National Conference of Home Science 2026 Expo is officially inaugurated. Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor Ashok S. Alu sir to address the gathering.
Offering my salutes to the lotus feet of His Holiness Srimani Niranjana Brahmaswarupi Jagadguru Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, who inaugurated and led for the program. President of the program, Professor N.K. Loknath, Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University of Mysore. Professor Sharanappa Halse, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Karnataka State Open University, Mysore. Professor V. Bharati Harishankar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Avinash Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. Professor V. Prakash, Distinguished Scientist of CSIR and former Director CFPRI, Mysore. Srimati Savitaji, Registrar, University of Mysore. Professor Naveen Kumar, Registrar, KSU, Mysore. Professor Komala M., Chairperson and Convener of the Conference, Dr. Anita C., Organizing Secretary of the Conference, Dr. Mani, whose book we really released with a lot of pleasure. I also recognize the presence of several Vice Chancellors, Directors from different institutions, esteemed panelists, delegates across the country, faculty members, my dear students, sustainability champions, friends from print and electronic media, a very good morning to all of you. Friends, I deem it as an honor and privilege to address you at the University of Mysore, which we always look at it as the cultural heartbeat of Karnataka, as we launch this landmark conference on advancing ecological sustainability and community engagement through NEP-aligned home science education and research. If you look at the theme, I feel it is the urgency of the time. The home science basically encompasses human development, family studies, food science and nutrition, and family resource management, textile science and apparel design, and also extension education. It's uniquely positioned to bridge the ecology as well as the human well-being. If you look at the conference highlights, basically it brings forward the role of home science in driving the change. It is change for the sustainability of the food systems, also towards the circular textile practices, helping to foster the family resilience to participatory outreach. And it also tries to look at integrating research, innovation, and societal collaboration as we address several United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, nurturing harmony between people and the planet. I was trying to look at 5 themes of the conference, which are wonderfully crafted by the committee. Theme 1 talks about human development and family studies. And I have been a student of University of Agricultural Sciences, Harvard, and we have one historical home science institution in our campus. So home science has always been very close to my heart, and I have a few of my professors and my colleague and classmate who is part of this conference. The human development and family studies basically focuses on individual family, the community resilience for sustainable living, and promoting life skills, parenting, child development, mental well-being, and even early childhood education, all such inclusive practices and a value-based living in the rural areas. The theme 2 talks about food science and nutrition, basically, which emphasizes the sustainable food systems, innovations for nutrition security, family interventions, nutraceuticals, functional foods, and policy actions for the health outcomes. If you look at theme 3, talks about family resource management, which is one of the most important theme, which basically looks at advocating the efficient resource conservation, reduction in the wastages, promoting circular practices at the home level, integrating food housing, environmental management practices, and finally looking at the financial, touched time education through community participation. Theme 4 talks about textile science and apparel design. We have experts from both the sides. It basically spotlights the eco-responsible materials, conscious production of such material, and also the circular waste management. Thus, aiming towards the revival of the traditional textiles for the modern relevance. And theme 5, which is wonderfully crafted, and it is one of the most dearest subject for me, that is extension education and communication, which really promotes the use of ICT tools, and it is ICT driven outreach setup, capacity building of the communities, strategic communication and behavioral change, and also for the impact assessment. If you look at today's mantra, we talk about NEP aligned home science. It is not just a curriculum to teach our students. It's basically, it aims at India's green revolution, engineering the entire process. So transforming every household. Unless we transform the households, we cannot dream of transforming the country. So this is one of the most important, concept. If you look at the burning, imperatives, there are triple crises that bother the state of Karnataka. If you look at the crisis number 1, it is about file degradation. If you take the example of one of the areas, we talk about Upper Krishna project command area, which is about 1.2 million hectares of land is affected. And if you look at the yield losses, it is between 40 to 60% anywhere, totaling to a tune of 1,000 crores annually. Look at this. and we have solutions that home science can deliver at the family level. If you look at the waste tsunami, though I am in Kodagu, I stay in Bangalore in most of my time, and so Bangalore generates close to 6,000 million metric tons every day. About 70% of the wastage is organic. That can be very nicely recycled and reused, but we don't do it. Less than 40% is processed and reused. This is one of the important aspects we need to again look at home science to help the environment to improve. And nutrition emergency. We have been talking a lot about nutrition. We talked about it. In spite of all our efforts, in spite of several programs at the central and state government programs, 35% of our children, they are still malnourished or undernourished. They are stunted. And millets cultivation. If we were at one point of time, we were only consuming millets. After the Green Revolution, after the introduction of all these high-yielding varieties, we have lost all that area under millets. It has fallen down to 20%. Now, after COVID, we are now again talking about millets. So these are the three things that home science can really address so as to help the state. If you look at the country's dilemma, see, we have 1.4 billion population at the national level. And if you look at the percentage of population, 55% of the population is constituted by the agricultural workforce. It means you cannot import ecological salvation. We can import many materials from outside, but when it comes to ecological salvation, we cannot import it from anywhere else. We must manufacture it domestically through 300 million green laboratories. I look at households as green laboratories of this country. So it is the greatest responsibility on the home science people. If you look at home science, I always look at home science as a perfect vehicle for multidisciplinary mastery, because you look at nutrition, you talk about textiles, you talk about resource management. That is nothing but the holistic sustainability. And if you look at household scale, we have 300 million plus households. And if you correct it at the household level, you can correct it at the national level. If you look at the community roots, it is the extension where the policies flatten. It is again at the home science level. And if you look at the advantage of Karnataka, we have wonderful millet missions. We have watershed traditions in this country, in this state. So that's where home science can play a very, very crucial role. If you look at NEP 2020, I call it NEP 2020 as the education's second independence. We have forgotten the jargons. It is basically trying to look at reviving the entire education system in the country. It's again focusing on home science. We look at that 5 game-changing pillars of home science. The first one is the education structure. We have 5+3+3+4 structure. The sustainability right from Balavatika to embedding community science in schools as well as in the green-minded citizens. And point number 2, we have 50% circular flexibility, and we have lot of possibilities to look at it. Then we have the third one, which talks about experiential learning mandate. The entire curriculum is built around this. And when you go to any community science or home science college, the entire curriculum is built around experiential learning. And then we also have research renaissance. Basically, a lot of our students focus on practical problems that are prevailing in the society. And then we are now trying to integrate the indigenous knowledge system. But when it comes to home science, IKS is the foundation for all their studies. Friends, we also look at the national agenda. The national agenda basically, completely, demands the rootedness in India. Home science basically delivers through 5 proven models. And all my senior friends who are present here, they will agree with me. The first, model talks about door-to-door campaign. It is possible only through, home science. Because if you talk about sustainability Sankula, it's a plant nutrition gardens. We talk about, there are several slums where we can definitely help them, guide them, handhold them to develop this, and you can definitely deliver hygienic kits. It is possible through door-to-door campaigns. Point number 2, we talk about PRA, we talk about participatory rural appraisal immersions. This is also possible through our students and a big campaign that is possible. And if you look at the self-help groups innovation and incubation, Professor Halsey was talking about this. SHGs are basically those groups which are very well organized in the state of Karnataka. They can be your, what I should say, vehicles to address the rural problems. And then Karnataka, the whole country is witnessing the digital revolution, and we have several digital technologies available for us to disseminate the knowledge to the people. And then we have the cultural fusion in the state of Karnataka, right from Nadagite. If you look at the Nadagite song that we sung at the beginning, it remixes the conservation rallies. It talks about folk of Ragi Muddai as a global superfood. It talks about watershed festivals celebrating the water warriors. So friends, we have to now look at the engine that promotes equity. This is possible through 70% of the women leaders who are present there. They are the beneficiaries, and no victory is possible. No victory is just an item for celebration. It is possible only through a battle. Victory can be achieved only through a battle, and we have to look at these 5 dragons which I would like to mention. One is infrastructure deficit. When we talk about home science, yes, 70% of the colleges, they have faculty vacancies. Our laboratories are packed with old machines and engines. We have to upgrade them, and then faculty crunch. 80% of the faculty are retired, and we are running with guest faculty. And then we have urban-rural chassis, because we talk about digital hybrids. We talk about Bangalore versus Belgavi, or Mysore versus Chamarajanagar. This divide is there, and then there is a perception with many of the people. They think that home science is basically a subject for women. This is a myth. I always say this is a myth. And the truth is, it is an engine to promote 30 sustainable development goals, empowering 70% of the women. They can become the green leaders for this country. Friends, with these few words, I always look at, and I believe in the concept of collaboration. We cannot work anymore in silos. This is the era of collaboration. Madam Kovala has gathered so many people, around 300 plus delegates across 15 states of this great nation. It is an opportunity for all of you to come together, build a strong network between you, exchange your experiences, exchange your ideas, participate effectively in the sessions and panels that have been designed for this conference. And this should envision resilient homes where nutrition combats malnutrition, and then where resources recycle endlessly, and education should spark a productive change that is the power of ecological home science. Friends, I take this opportunity to congratulate the Honorable Vice Chancellor, the entire team of University of Mysore, Honorable Vice Chancellor, and entire team of KSOU Mysore. They have come together to organize such a wonderful theme, and I'm sure all the people who are part of this conference will be benefited by the interactions and the discussions that are going to happen. I congratulate again all the participants and the delegates who are present here, and I wish this is going to be a most successful conference. And at the end of the conference, I request Madam Kovala to come out with all this as a Mysore dialogue, and come out with certain policy recommendations to the government, so that it is remembered, and the product out of this conference will remain on the record of this nation. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Sharanappa V. Halse, sir, to felicitate Professor Ashok Alusha. Thank you, sir. It is now time for the keynote address. It is my proud privilege to invite Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash, sir, distinguished scientist and former director CFTRI Mysuru, to deliver the keynote address.
First of all, great congratulations to Professor Komala. My talk is supposed to schedule start at 1 o'clock. We are ahead of time by 2.5 minutes. Unbelievable precision. That is science. That is science. And that is home science. That is home science. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Fantastic. Very few programs look at you understand what I'm telling, I'll say you understand what I'm telling, and madam, you know. It's not easy to control time in a function like this, but marvelous good. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಮೈಸೂರಿನ ಈ ರಾಜ ಪರಂಪರೆಯ ನಗರದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೈಸೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಶ್ರೀ ನಾಲ್ವಡಿ ಕೃಷ್ಣರಾಜ ಒಡೆಯರ್ ಸಭಾಂಗಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಯೋಜಿಸಲಾಗಿರುವ ಗೃಹ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಸಮ್ಮೇಳನ 2026ಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಲೆದಿರುವ ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಮೇಲಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಹಾಗೂ ಈ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ಪ್ರೇಕ್ಷಕ ಸಮೂಹಕ್ಕೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ನನ್ನ ಶುಭೋದಯಗಳು. Having received the divine blessings of His Holiness Jagadguru Sri Dr. Shivaratna Deshkendra Mahaswamiji Avrinda, it's a great pleasure to see the dynamics, the esteemed dignitaries on the stage. Number one, Professor Shakuntala, a great teacher. I never studied under her, but I know my wife, Professor Jamuna Prakash, was her student at the VHT College of Home Science in Bangalore. So you are a part of our family in the Guru Parampara. Dear Bharati Shankar and Professor Lokanath, of course, very popular in Mysore and join in terms of innovation and doing very similar work to what I did on protein, but he was on crystals, but I was on solution. So he makes the crystals, I dissolve it. So that's the way we have been working. Professor Halse and been running a very, very different way of university. I was just telling Naveen Kumar, you were just that you should have special lectures for KSOU from distinguished people in the respective field so that they migrate from a mere syllabus to much exposure to higher level. And Professor Ashok, of course, sitting next to me, we talked about many things. A great thing that he is doing beyond coffee. I would like to really go to university and taste the best cup of coffee in the world with Kodagu. Yeah? So with that, it's a great pleasure. Mrs. Komala, Mrs. Anita, it's amazing that you took the leadership along with your team Home Science to do this young team that came to my house to invite me, and at the same time make sure that all the university vice chancellor. My feeling is on the third day, if you had a vice chancellor's conference here, you would have got more of them. Perhaps that's the way I see most of them here, and also the panel discussions, the program, the plenary and leader, and invited speakers, faculties and scientists, participants from all around the country, especially also the staff of the University of Mysore and KSOU. My very, very, very dear student participants for talks and posters. By the way, I'll be there in the posters in the afternoon to look at each one of them, and I'll really enjoy seeing those posters. Exhibitors, and thanking the sponsors, especially my dear guests, most importantly, my dear media people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. At the outset, I profoundly thank the organizers, but at the same time, I would like to just take additional 2 minutes of my 15 minutes in not forgetting the history of the Department of Home Science of the Manaskandas. These are not secrets, but they are confidential too. The reason is, even I don't remember very well. So whatever I say, don't believe just like that. But I know one thing. The first batch of the home science students started their career of learning in Jayalakshmi Vilas Mansion. So, Mr. Dr. the Jayalakshmi Vilas Mansion belongs to Komala and her predecessor. So therefore, you start in a palace and you grow as a royal. So I think that's what home science has done. Those of you who want to just take a photograph standing in front of it, go there, next building. And now there's folklore museum and so on going on. But what a history, what a history. And there were 10 students at that time. By the by, they all came to CFTRI when I was a student to take biochemistry, food science, statistics and other courses along with us. They were very, very flabbergasted with these technologies in CFTRI. They're all still in touch with me after 56 years. Whether it is Lavanya or Panna or Meera or Akhila, who also happened to be a professor, Gita Hanamantaya, Saraswati A, not Saraswati G, who is your faculty, then Sanjida, Renika Usha, and Kama. It's amazing. I just sent them a WhatsApp that today is this function. They all want, sir, please tell Komala, please send us all the proceed. The second point I want to mention is that the department started to rename itself into Department of Studies of Food Science and Nutrition on February 6, 1994. And that year I took over as the director of CFTRI. It looked like the department changed the name of food science to associate itself with CFTRI. But that's a coincidence. The expansion was phenomenal and the additional human development was added in the end of the last century, which is 1999, 2000. And who are the builders of the department? I think we should always remember the pioneers. If I say the pioneer of home science in India is Dr. Mrs. Rajendra P. Very, very close to me, very close to my wife, Professor Jamuna Prakash, and very close to CFTRI. And she was one of the board members of the IUNS, which is International Union of Nutrition Sciences. And when I became the vice president of IUNS, I sent her a very long letter. And therefore, it is vital. Like that, the first pioneer of Padma, Dr. Padma Ompati, who was the professor in the home science department. And this had a very different history. The director of NIM became the honorary professor in the department, Professor S.G. Srikantaya, a world-renowned nutritionist. He voluntarily worked in the department after retirement in NIM Hyderabad. You are really, really lucky. Many were envious of you and your class. Many were envious. Of course, there were other various professors who passed through. Professor Rudrama, Professor Shishikala Putraj, Professor G. Saraswati, Dr. Kairan Misra Begum, Dr. Jamuna Prakash, Dr. Asma Maruch, and now Dr. Komal. So it's wonderful, this history of these studies in home science. And what are those milestones? I don't want to go through all that and take away my time in that introduction. They did Silver Jubilee in 2013, right? Or 1995, we did Silver Jubilee. 2020, Golden Jubilee. Exactly 1,500 days from now is the Diamond Jubilee. Exactly 1,500 days. So please prepare for it. A lot of time, but you need to do it more God-given. Yeah? With that introduction of this wonderful department, I'm going to quickly jump into my topic. The key words of this conference are basically in the Home science shaping India relevant human-centric life sciences. 1. Home science, keyword. 2. Resilience. 3. Ecology. 4. Transformation. 5. Empowerment of girls and women. Sustainability 6. And 7. Of course, community service, which is not restricted to home science. Even the space science has to do community service. And that's very important. It is not for always home scientists to do community service and we all live in an ivory tower. No. Pure physics can do social service because the way we can interpret, the way we can innovate can go to that. So normally home science is associated with community service, but I wish every science is associated with community service. Very, very important. These 7 swaras of resilience, ecology, transformation, empowerment, sustainability, and community service, I may call it, and see how we can perfectly make a melody out of these 7 swaras and together give a concert in the next 12 minutes. How you vibrate, that's how I thought to make this concert. Quickly, let us go through number 1. The home management and home science stems from thousands of years of experience of women at home. It did not really took birth just about 100,000 years back, 2,000 years back. Right from the day woman came here, the management of a home was a part of it. That took shape in 1900 when things started looking at it, when people started the historical point of view of rebranding the domestic stereotype to home science was the first academic field to apply scientific methods to human microenvironment. What is that microenvironment? Family. If you can manage a family, if you can do a neighborhood management, a community management, you can almost run a nation. So that is the principle that home science follows. It's also important that the traditional chemistry focused internationalized the war weapons of the 1900s, but home science was the only field applying biochemistry to infant mortality and malnutrition. In fact, the subject of malnutrition and infant mortality started even before the word biochemistry came into existence. And therefore, the origin of such mandate came from the word home science. It's also vital when we look at scarcity to cellular health. Home scientists moved the needle from eating to fullness to eating for metabolic food. Today we call superfood. I have no agreement on that. There is nothing like superfood. Every food is a food. One way or the other, we don't know what it is, that's all. So I think it is important. The concept of eating for metabolic function was generated in the ramparts of home science colleges, especially in India. Very few countries have home science colleges as much as in India. So India is a pioneer in that. In traceability of RDA, recommended daily allowance, and the evolved modern clinical nutrition and nutrigenomics was a part of the home science. And today that has gone into epigenetics and nutrigenomics and reverse nutrigenomics and reverse nutraceuticals. What is this reverse business? In other words, if a community is eating a particular kind of food and they don't get much diseases, we look at different competition in that. And if you look at Professor Mane's book, the long list of the competition, I was very attracted with some of them like moringa and so on. But there are many tribal leaves, tribal vegetables, tribal roots, which kept them into immunity swing in the COVID. And we need to really look at those databases. And it's here, the reverse nutraceutics, the reverse nutrigenomics will help us. From the food-based approach all the way to the immunity approach. The word nutrition and the word immunity, even though COVID harmed us, in a way, we should thank it because the whole world came to know the word nutrition and immunity. Now ask anybody, is it good for my immunity? First question. It's not, is it good for my bank balance? Is it good for my immunity balance? I think it's very important that we give that credit to home science. and not go away with the modern biology taking. Yeah, modern biology is fantastic, but who gave that idea? That's very, very important. I would like to go today, the 50% of my talk is over, to the human development and wellness ecosystem. The original psychology of child development as a rigorous study of the moving beyond anecdotal parenting evidence-based observation into India pioneered this work. In other words, psychological determination, psychological analysis of the family is so important to keep it going strong with a pillar of woman and girl. The social determinants of health, SDOH, and the biophilic design of the modern office and the ergonomics actually belongs to home science. Go through the history of the whole episode of ergonomic, the so-called, I call it sometimes wheelchair, not the revolving chair in the office, because it's very, very vital that once you sit on that wheelchair, you are addicted to the wheelchair till the last breath. Because it's so important that the ergonomical chair probably did not evolve from home science, it evolved from business. But the ergonomically developed home science system has developed on stability of a four-legged chair sitting very tightly and erect. And this is very important to thank home science for that ergonomy. The style of walking, the speed of walking, the gait of walking has been recorded in the earlier 1910s in some of the countries which also copied India as a home science, in the family system of development of psychology and social work and behavioral economics and behavioral ergonomics. And this stems from home science. And it's also important, the science of efforts of fabric. Today fabric is in the news with the Mysore silk going away, with the stadium coming in there. But this fabric can adorn the house, can adorn a person, can adorn the God, adorn all of the important VIPs here with the shop. The way you make it, the way you dress it, makes a lot of difference in giving that ergonomic style to a system of textile. So this came in by industrial system in a very different way of home design and textile. That originated in almost 1940 in many of the places. The second one is the industrial scaling. Modern food safety protocols of even FSSA, for which I was responsible for making it, today follows the hygienic home principle of food safety and standard. Science has contributed all right, but the first point of cooking at home with hygiene, with a clarity of purpose of cleanliness, caring for others' health, and knowing from where it is coming, simply belongs to home science. We never highlight anywhere. Some of the scientists have overtaken that, and they shudder in the home science as just a cooking science. I call those people as selfish people. I think they have a big credit where it belongs to. Don't hesitate. As a retired person, I can do it. But some of you are in the position may have difficulty in doing it. But it is very important to be honest and to be bold. Sustainability, good word from what we have used here, is the old school resource management and is now a circular economy. It's totally a circular economy. And therefore, home science taught total utilization of food waste at home. Whether a pea chutney, the main ingredient of a vegetable goes to sambar. So many other means of utilizing the waste is something with a zero waste cluster. I would like to come to the last portion of my talk. Sorry. The outdated myth, the 21st century reality, and the scientific traceability. Let us very boldly face what home science meant. Number one, the outdated myth is home science, quote unquote. 99% of the hits that I checked up with the AI showed it's just for cooking. That's the myth. The 21st century reality, the hit is 92%, applied biochemistry. You believe AI? Take it. If you don't want to believe AI, still you have to take it, you have no choice. So the third one, scientific traceability. Home science pioneered bioavailability and nutrition, which I already mentioned. It pioneered, and therefore that's the way we have to transform. Myth, it's house cleaning. Science, it is microbiology and public health and germ theory and food safety. So when you clean the house, what you are doing, you are getting rid of all the microbes. So I think it's very important to give that. The interior design, outdated myth, ergonomics, work triangle, motion studies. Today, it occupies management studies for 2 years on motion studies and logic. Lastly, how can we get domestic skills? Myth. The 21st century reality, it is behavioral neuroscience. Behavioral neuroscience and the scientific traceability, family system stability, theory and social work and health and governance. This is where we are forgetting our roots, and in doing so, we also see a very huge influx of data that is coming out from various angles. In my closing remarks, I would like to reiterate that this conference serves as a powerful media and reminder that resilience is not a passive state, but a transformative process where science empowers people to become active custodians of our planet's finite resources. We are only finite resources, like my time is finite of 15 or 20 minutes. The deliberation over these 2 days, both Professor Komala and Professor Anita, 26 and 27 in the Royal City of Mysore, India, must focus on the synergy between innovation and heritage, and tradition and modern, and bring out the declaration we talked about, because conferences start, conferences close, but declarations are few. But that declaration has to be doable, and it has to reach the top policy people, and at the same time the political leaders, at the same time the helm of affairs in finance, to make sure this is a group of people who joined in Mysore during the declaration. It is not an individual declaration. It is a group declaration. It is valued with each one of you of 50 years of experience, average of 30 years or 35 years. We are talking about 15,000 hours of experience. Unbelievable here into the number of years. How much it is? Almost like 10 lakh hours of experience. This declaration is made. And what the declaration is, you are the best judges to do that. Therefore, adoption of cultural, circular economy and validation of indigenous wellness goal remains the same, empowering sustainability through evidence-based science. Here I want to make one single point. There is a huge confusion in this world on science-based evidence and evidence-based science. People use it recklessly without any knowledge of what is evidence-based science. First, the experiment is done on humans, and somebody is eating for the last 2,000 years of food, so you are evident they are healthy. Now you do science on that. Understand what it is. That's all. You are not innovating something, you can't take a picture. What is science-based evidence? Science also, in the process, understands something intrusive and practical. And that you trace the evidence of the family history. If you don't have, your science has to be rigorously done in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, which we are all familiar with. So therefore, evidence-based science, the strongest hold in the country, in the world, is India, with 8,000 years of evidence. We have documented Charaka Samhita, Shrishta Samhita, the Bhava Prakasha, the nothing of home science, and also Aharam and Yoga Purisha, etc. etc. I commend the organizers for this wonderful vision in curating theme, and I am sure the home science based on traditions of India and family and society management of thousands of families and thousands of contemporary need of the hour is a human-centric life science. The new word that I would like to put here is a human-centric life science. That's the beginning of tomorrow's future. In doing so, it's a great thing that I wish to really congratulate all the participants, a productive exchange of ideas, and meet people whom you don't know. That's the beauty of a symposium and conference. Generally, I see people moving in clusters with their friends, but meet people whom you don't know, they are here to meet you. Exchange ideas, and it undoubtedly serve the blueprint for a sustainable and equitable future for all. I'm sure this will also usher a new era for home science, reborn, rebirth, and also reinvoked and reinstated in its proper place of audit, its proper place of decorum, and its proper place of respect. I congratulate the organizer and, of course, the University of Mysore and the KSOU for combining and synergy, where they're just not two people. 1 and 1 is not 2. 1 and 1 is 11, right? So that's what they have done. And all of you have joined as one more 1 month. You see how many 1 month. So a huge gathering, perfect science, and please encourage it. Wherever you can, use this one word. This whole thing has come forward because of one simple thing, and that is home science. If you are a carrier of that message as an ambassador, you have done part of your duty to community service. And I'm sure each one of you is an ambassador now to carry the word home science as the basic, fundamental mother science of all sciences. It's good to remember that and cultivate that and also capture it wherever we are. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for the thought-provoking and engaging keynote. I now request Professor N.K. Lokanath, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Mysore, to felicitate Dr. V. Prakash, sir. We now proceed to the logo launch ceremony. It is my proud privilege to invite Professor N.K. Lokanath, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, to kindly unveil the official logo of International Confederation and Academy for Human, Family and Community Scientists, INCA-CS, by pressing the ceremonial button. With that symbolic unveiling, the official logo of INCA-HFCS is formally launched. Thank you, sir, for this significant moment. I now invite Professor N.K. Lokanath, sir, to deliver the presidential remarks.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. Now from good morning towards good afternoon. I know that this is a very long program of inauguration of this prestigious national conference. We are all sitting in this hall. We should remember that Nalvadi Krishnaraj Odiyar, because I am representing University of Mysore. most of them are coming from outside Mysore. You should know that this university was established in 1916, the sixth oldest university in India, and the first university established outside the government of India. That's the greatness of our king. And the very unique thing is, this founder of this university was the Sir Visvesvaraya. Everybody knows him. He got the Bharat Ratna. And then the faculty of this university, the then President of India, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, he got the Bharat Ratna. And as a then, our own student, Dr. C.N.R. Rao got the Bharat Ratna award. So it's very unique that founder, faculty and student got the Bharat Ratna award. And also you should know that Madam was mentioning about the campus and she walked around the campus. So this was the campus was established by the great poet called Kuompu, who was then Vice Chancellor here in 1856, and he gave the name Manasadam Gotri. The one of the best campus therefore, and he was the one who got the first Jnanapita award in the country. So this is the history of our university. So I request all the participants to move around the campus. It's one of the best campus in India. This credit goes to the great poet Kuompu. So if you move around, you can see that the campus is so beautiful. And dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and my dear students, participants, media persons, everybody talks about the food, home science and everything. And I'm seeing here is, most of them are women empowerment is very much is here. The two things we should always remember. The first thing is discipline at home. Everything begins at home. Whatever you want to today, it decides at home itself. Similarly, you have to discipline your food. If you keep these two things in a proper way, every science will start beginning food and home. And also, whatever the observation made by the experts about this conference, about this title of this conference, I really appreciate the efforts made by both the university's faculty members, making this day more memorable. And I am very much happy that Madam has mentioned about the resilience and transformation are both opposite words. So they make them together in this conference. The one very important thing is, you are always saying a sustainability. No longer it's a choice, it's a possibility. So you should have to think about sustainability. And also, maybe resilience is an abstract concept, but it's a necessity today. And similarly, transformation is no longer a distant goal. It must be an ongoing process. And our institutions, our communities, and our daily lives will have to transform. We are in a situation, after my completion of MSc or PhD, I am in the crossroad. Now the situation is very different. Every day I am in the crossroad because of the technology advances, because of the information is going on very fast. And everybody puts in, now we have to think about the artificial intelligence. Everywhere it comes, even it comes to even in your room or even to cooking, everywhere it comes AI. That means we need to enrich or we took the possibilities from the AI, what best I can do. So always I do say, AI will not replace human, but AI definitely enriches us and it also makes us to do much better and better in these days. So technology is going very fast because it's a competitive world. Therefore, I always urge the research students, participants, there will be three things in your life. Either you should gain, that means you should be winner, or you will be loser sometimes. And the more important thing is the share. The first thing is winner means you always think positively. You think and take a good proper thing because good health, good thinking will make you prosper better. So therefore always be positive and be collective, be coordinated. The second thing is you should away from the negativity. If you take it anywhere, in the society there is always a problem. Don't worry about the problem. Problem you have to get the challenge. So problem should be there so that I can learn much better. Therefore, you ignore the problems. Very important is sharing. That's where we are lost. Nowadays, nobody speaks to anybody because mobile is there. Machine to machine speaks. It is not correct. In my opinion, you have to share the small things which you see that is something important you can share with others. So sharing will make it to more and more. The same thing happens in science. I am coming from the background of physics. Law of conservation of energy says energy needs to be created, not be destroyed. Always energy is conserved. That's what our happiness is always there. But happiness has to come from ourselves. So therefore, I urge all the researchers to make your research more effectively by sharing others. For this type of conferences, definitely enhance your research either through coordinations or collaborations or interactions so that it will be a great opportunity for the young researchers to make themselves more competitive to do more research on this conference. I will also say that this conference makes us to know much more about home science. Professor Prakash mentioned that the history of the department, how it was established. Every department established or every university was established with all difficulties. Now we are all in the crossroads because higher education is more volatile. Higher education plays a pivotal role in everybody's life. But today, because of the advance of technology, advancement of information, advancement of every human being, we are in the crossroads. People say critical thinking, innovations, these things will not come a day or two. It has come all the way. Therefore, you put in great effort in making better life. So whatever we do in the science, it should be given back to the society. That's where the transformation should happen. So whatever the research I do, it should be given to the society. Therefore, in this competition of this world, what we have to do is we have to contribute something to the society. Then the celebration comes. So therefore, I urge all the researchers make some effective research and also take the messages from here that we do something positive to the society so that I can transform the family. So therefore, home science definitely transform family. If families together transform, then the whole society will change us. So always I wish all the best to all the participants. I know time is going up. And also I really appreciate the efforts of Dr. Komala, Dr. Anita and others. They have been made this day more memorable. And it is also something like Indian knowledge system. We got the blessing from the Swamiji this morning. And we have the elder madam. So she has released her book at this. We are much inspired by her by writing a book by this age. That means how the knowledge becomes wisdom, and these knowledge and wisdom come together can give you something to society. So therefore, I wish you all the best. I don't want to take much time. I need to go back to Bangalore for some meeting. Therefore, it's my very congratulations to everyone who have been able to come over from all the parts of the country, resource persons, plenary speakers, participants, and all research students. And wish you all the best and take away the message from the Mysore. That's something you should do in your career. Thank you, Ananda.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating leadership. I now request Professor Naveen Kumar SK, the Registrar, KSOU, Mysuru, and all the dignitaries on the dais to felicitate the Chief Patrons of National Conference of Home Science, Professor N.K. Lokanath, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, Mysuru, and Professor Sharanappa V. Halse, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Open University, Mysuru, for their continued support in organizing this conference. Thank you so much for them both. Thank you all the dignitaries. Gratitude turns what we have into enough. To propose the vote of thanks, I invite Dr. Anita C., Organizing Secretary, NCHS 2026, Department of Studies and Research in Food Science and Nutrition, Karnataka State Open University.
Thank you. Elrigo Namaskara. Good afternoon, one and all. Offering my respect to His Holiness Jagadguru Dr. Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, Honorable Vice Chancellors, distinguished dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, esteemed guests, faculty members, researchers, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege and honor to propose a vote of thanks from both the universities, that is University of Mysore and Karnataka State Open University, on this momentous occasion of inauguration of National Conference of Home Science 2026. It is my proud privilege to offer my deepest gratitude to His Holiness Jagadguru Dr. Sri Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji for gracing this occasion with His divine presence and blessing the conference. His spiritual guidance and inspiring words have truly elevated the significance of the gathering today. Thank you very much, sir. I extend my sincere thanks to Professor N.K. Loknath, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mysore, for inaugurating the conference, launching INCA HFCS, and delivering the presidential remarks that have set an inspiring tone to the deliberation ahead, which we will be doing it henceforth till tomorrow afternoon. We are proudly grateful to our own Vice Chancellor, Professor Sharnappa V. Alsesar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Karnataka State Open University, for the release of souvenir and for sharing his valuable thoughts of the conference. Thank you very much, sir. My heartfelt thanks to Professor Ashok S. Aluru, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodagu University, for inaugurating the Expo NCHS 2026 and his address emphasizing the pivotal role of home science in bringing a holistic change in the community. Thank you very much, sir. I extend sincere appreciation to Professor V. Bharti, Madam, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Avinash Lingam Institute of Home Science and Higher Education for Women, for releasing the book and her distinguished guest address, wherein she just spoke about all the themes that were there and said how important it is in the as a home scientist, and emphasized its role in the community development also. We are deeply honored to the gracious presence of Padma Shri Dr. V. Prakash Sir, distinguished scientist of CSIR and former Director CFTR Mysore, for delivering the keynote address as the guest of honor. Thank you very much, sir, for briefing about our university, that is Mysore University Department of Food Science, giving us a brief account of the history of the department. Your insights and experience are truly inspiring to the academic and the research community. And also you have related the science from home to the integrated approach of community development and emphasizes as human-centric life science. So thank you very much, sir. I also express my thanks to the registrars, Srimati M.K. Samita, Registrar of Mysore University, and Professor Naveen Kumar sir, Registrar of Karnataka State Open University, for their valuable presence and their encouragement. Both of them have stood back of us and have encouraged us in all the steps. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Professor Jamuna Prakash Madam, because she was the one who stood right from the day one and supporting us continuously, giving us invaluable guidance in planning and execution executing this conference. I think her dedication right from wherever we have asked, whether it is Mysore University or Karnataka State Open University, both the departments, she has given invaluable guidance and thoughtful directions at every stage and ensured the smooth organization and success of this event. I really thank you from wholehearted, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. My heartfelt thanks next goes to Professor Shakuntala Mane, madam, giving us an opportunity to have a book release in this heritage city and Mysore University campus also. So thank you very much, madam. My sincere thanks, of course, goes to the convener of this conference, Professor Komila M., who is the chairperson and the convener of NCHS 2026 for her visionary leadership and tireless efforts in organizing this conference. I think she has slogged day and night to bring out this, and I think this inauguration session itself shows that it is a grand success. Thank you very much, madam. I also place record our appreciation to the entire organizing committee for their meticulous planning and dedicated teamwork and tireless efforts made this event a grand success. I think their commitment behind the scene ensured every minute detail, right from the small placing the chairs or even the other things, that is the badges, handing out the badges, etc. Everything was perfectly executed. Very special thanks to our enthusiastic student volunteers who, I think their energy, discipline, teamwork and willingness to give their fullest to the responsibilities that was given to them. Truly, it reflects the spirit of our department also. That is there. So without your active involvement, this event would not have been definitely smooth, would not have run smoothly. I extend my gratitude to our respected faculty members for their constant guidance, support and motivation throughout the planning and execution of this program of both food science and nutrition from both the universities. My sincere thanks goes to even the non-teaching staffs as well, because their silent yet significant contribution provides the essential support system required for the smooth conduct of this event. And very importantly, I gratefully acknowledge our sponsors and supporting agencies for their generous finance and institutional support also. So all of you, your contribution has played a crucial role in making this national conference possible and impactful also. I also extend heartfelt thanks to the media partners for their valuable coverage and support in disseminating the objectives and the outcome of the conference to the wider community also. I thank all the participants and the attendees from all over India and abroad for their active involvement and cooperation, which added meaning and vibrancy to this gathering. I thank all the delegates and once again participants who have joined us from various institutions across the country for your enthusiastic participation and is the true strength of the conference. So with this, I once again extend my thanks to everyone who with gratitude to each and everyone who have contributed maybe in a small way or even in a bigger way also. So let us look forward to fruitful deliberations and meaningful academic exchange in the sessions again. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. With this, we conclude the inaugural session of NCHS 2026. Kindly join us for tea and refreshments outside the auditorium. The technical sessions will commence as per the schedule. Thank you all for your gracious presence. Have a meaningful and enriching conference. Thank you.
ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸೇಮ್.
ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಲೈವ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಲೈವ್ ಇರಲಿ, ಇವ್ರು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಲೈವ್ ಇರಲಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೆ ಐ ಡಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಹಾಂ, ಶ್ರದ್ಧಾ ಬಾಮ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ನೋಡಿ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಐ ಡಿ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಿ, ಈಗ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಡಿ. ಇವರು ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ಒಂದೇ ನಿಮಿಷ ಸರಿ. ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ರು ಒಂದೊಂದು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ, ನನಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಈಗ ಅವಳೇ ಬಂದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ. ಸರಿ
I request all the delegates to come inside the auditorium and take their seats. Respect. Respected dignitaries, distinguished delegates, faculty members, researchers and students. We now move to one of the most engaging segments of this conference, distinguished experts panel discussion. The theme of this discussion is advancing ecological sustainability and community engagement through NEP, aligned home science education and research. To guide this important deliberation, we are honored to have Professor Ashok E.S. Alur, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kodagu University, Kodagu, Karnataka, as the chairperson of this session. May I now respectfully invite the chairperson to kindly take over the proceedings and introduce the esteemed panelists.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Friends, we had a wonderful and most meaningful inaugural session, and now we are moving towards one of the most interesting panel discussion on advancing ecological sustainability and community engagement through NEP aligned home science education and research. I have with me four most experienced academicians. I have a pleasure in briefly introducing them because, keeping the time schedule in mind. We have with us Professor Bharati Harishankar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Avinashi Lingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, going to Tamil Nadu. We also have Professor Aparjita Chaudhary, Honorable former Vice Chancellor, Ramadevi Women's University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. We have Dr. Arindam Das, Director, Srishti Manipal Institute of Art, Design and Technology, Market. We have another interesting resource person joining online from National Institute of Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management, Tanjore, Tamil Nadu, Professor Palani Muthu. And we have two most experienced in the record years helping us to draft the proceedings of this entire session. Friends, the current session has 3 to 4 important objectives. The objective of this session is to illuminate NEP's role in elevating home science for sustainability and community impact. Second objective is to share their experiences, case studies, examples. We are expecting our panelists to share those innovations being done at their respective institutions. We are also trying to aim at identifying challenges, opportunities, and try to draft a 5-year roadmap from now how home science should progress. And then, most important aspect is to engage audience, basically focusing more on academicians and policymakers for collaborative research. And as we have done, I will not get into much of the introductory note here. Friends, we know that the National Education Policy 2020 reimagines home science as a most dynamic, multidisciplinary subject that bridges household practices with global sustainability goals, basically focusing on empowering communities through practical education and research. And to that, it has introduced a very transformative vision for Indian education, emphasizing on multidisciplinary learning, flexibility in curriculum, and integrating vocational skills with academic rigor. For home science, this means evolving from traditional domestic arts to holistic field encompassing nutrition, textiles, resource management, child development, and environmental extension, all are aligned with sustainable development goals of United Nations. We know that NEP features including 5+3+3+4 curricular structure for the promotion of experiential learning and emphasis on research for societal impact. And that's where the curricula of home science is revised in various universities, institutions. Now we are there to incorporate modules on eco-friendly practices, digital tools for household sustainability and community outreach. Keeping these things in mind, I would like to begin the session, and the important aspects that we are trying to cover. We have 3 to 4 rounds depending on the time that's available to us, and we are trying to bring out the best practices that are available across these institutions. And the first round will be about 2 to 3 minutes each, talking about curricula and sustainability, maybe another 2 to 3 minutes per person, and then we have community engagement related aspects, spending another 2 to 3 minutes per person, and then we have a last questions to all of them. I have an important announcement to make. We have with us Professor Bharati Harishankar. She has to leave for another engagement. She has to travel by Vande Bharat Express. And with the permission of all my esteemed panelists, I would like to invite Professor Bharati Harishankar. I would like to put a brief question to her. Madam, could you share the most significant points about NEP, highlighting the initiatives of NEP from your institution-based experiences?
First of all, thank you, and apologies for having to do a quick fix menu for your guest who's in a hurry to leave. But thank you for that. When we look at NEP, it already states that we are looking for inclusive, equitable access to education at all levels. But having said that, how do we make it possible? So when we ask the question, how do we make it possible, our knee-jerk reaction is to say, NEP is a set of actionable points, so please keep ticking box number 1 to 10, and you have followed NEP. It doesn't work that way, because every institution has a culture, every state has a set of policies that we are aligned with, and all of these have to align with NEP. So, as soon as the NEP was announced, one of the things that I made very clear in all the Vice Chancellor conferences I went is to say we are not going to implement 1 to 10 of the NEP principles, but what we will look for is the letter and spirit of NEP. So, to give you an example, what we have done is we did the undergraduate learning outcome-based curriculum framework, but we still not introduced the 4-year degree. The idea is when we have the NOCF complete for the existing 3 years, we will know how and where to place the 4th year for our students. So it becomes very crucial to ask the question, how will it work for my student and my institution? But having said that, as someone representing a women's university, we also feel some of the aspects of NEP are more than welcome. There's multiple entry exit. All of us who have been guiding women students, we know that we have career breaks during education, we have career breaks during employment, necessitated by many socio-cultural norms. I'm not bad-mouthing the norms, but I'm saying it's a necessity. So the multiple entry exit becomes a very good pathway for a woman to say, I can spend time for my family and continue my education. But moving forward, one of the things we noticed as a crucial point for NEP implementation is the capacity building, the continuous capacity building. So we have the first in the country AIU supported Academic and Administrative Development Center, and through that we are offering continuous capacity building for faculty and administrative staff, but we are looking at short term. So you keep them in a capsule, let them take it, go back, apply, come back to us. At the same time, we also started the Center for Continuing Education. Idea is, see, we have a tie-up with IIT Mumbai for offering courses, L&T. But our one request to any of our MOU partners is, whatever you make available for our students, please make them available for our alumni. So I know there are a lot of National University alumni here. If you want to come back, one way of reaching out is please enroll in courses that are going to help you in terms of your career progression. If you already have a career, if you have taken a break, please come back to take those courses which can land you in the job. The third aspect of NEP where I want you to share is, we keep talking about the importance of multidisciplinary programs as part of NEP. Home science has been and will remain a very multidisciplinary subject. Unfortunately, I mean, with due apologies to all the home scientists here, you start moving towards silos, super specializations within home science. So that is where I think the best way to take forward the NEP and to take forward home science would be, let us have first a very broad-based training and let them then move to the super specializations, because a food scientist should also know the dietetics part of it. They should also know the resource management part of it. So these are not unrelated, discrete kind of components. How we integrate, that is where I think the future of NEP depends on certain disciplines, and one of the disciplines is home science. Because we are naturally multidisciplinary, so somewhere in between we thought super specialization is very good. So now let us move back. I mean, I still remember a National University had a general home science course, which gave you an introduction and a very good foundation on all aspects of home science, and then they moved to the masters. Or now with NEP, we could also say at the honors level, let us move to specialization. Thank you.
You have touched a few of the points related to curriculum and sustainability.
Yes.
I have a quick question for you. If you look at NEP's structure, that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, the structure aims at transforming home science.
Yes.
Basically, the syllabi that we talk about, to embed practices that are eco-friendly, practices that promote circular economy, or climate resilient homemaking. What are your quick reflections on this?
First of all, the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 is a very, very holistic, comprehensive way of looking at Indian education. But having said that, just over our tea, there was this conversation about why the home science as a subject is not favored at the high school and high secondary school level. So one of the actionable points that we need to look at is how to bring it back into the school level curriculum. And again, we cannot, I mean, once we say we are going for the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 framework, we cannot then say, let me look for a syllabus that is unique to the 4 or the bachelor's level. What we need to look at is the National Credit Framework, which will introduce home science appropriate So once we introduce the curricular components in the 5+3+3, then introducing it at the undergraduate or the master's level becomes a very natural progression. And what this natural progression also gives us is the, forget LOC for the moment. I would say once we have a credit framework, what has applied is at the foundational level, at the level of 5 or +3 or +3 should organically and naturally lead to our curriculum at the higher education level. In order to do that, again a sincere request to all the home scientists here, not to let go of the...
Good morning,
good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Yes, you
are audible. We will just comment you.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Very much audible. Yes.
Hello?
Yes, you are audible. You are audible.
Am I audible?
Yes.
No, I think he's not able to hear. He's not able to hear. But to move forward with this conversation, it is important to look at how we are structuring the credit framework at the school and secondary level so that there is a very natural progression when we come to the LOCF as well as the National Higher Education Qualifications Framework. So, home science should start being more multidisciplinary in a very intentional way right through the school curriculum so that when we have them at the higher education level, we can then start giving them the specializations that they would like to choose.
I have one last question for you. Basically, this is to synthesize your entire presentation. I would request you to suggest one actionable step that you suggest for the universities and the institutions of higher learning to commit to upliftment of women. What is your...
See, I can share an example here. We have the seed money grants that we give our aspiring young faculty. And one of the things that we increasingly ask them is, what is the community benefit on this? How are you going to take it back to the community as an actionable point? And if this you notice, many of the funding agencies are asking us now. But the community benefits as we see right now are things like, oh, we will create awareness session, advocacy session, but I would say that's not going to help if we are all very concerned and careful about 2047 as a realizable goal. So in order to do that, we have to take this actionable, community-oriented focus of research as something where we do not look at our communities from where we take the samples as beneficiaries. I think so far all our research focus is we are doing something great in our labs and we are here to dispense wisdom. But believe me, there is more wisdom in the communities that we have not tapped. So the actionable point from me would be, how are we going to break the silo and make a lasting engagement between the researchers and the communities with a very specific emphasis on what is in our research project for the communities. If we are able to look at this as an actionable research point, then I'm sure we will no longer be talking about them as beneficiaries. We will in fact look at them as shareholders who are taking it forward with us, because at the end of the day there is more wisdom to be gained from the communities than the other way.
Thank you very much for sharing your experiences, your vision, and your ideas for really looking at home science as an important discipline, and also advising the friends from home science sector not to work in silos. It is the era of collaboration. I think thank you very much for your insights, and on behalf of the organizing committee, I take this opportunity to thank you. We miss you for the rest of the discussions, but I know the urgency of your travel. So I thank you very much for your insights, and then look forward to see you again and wish you a wonderful and happy journey. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for the patience and understanding in me, just changing the nature of this panel discussion. Thank you for those very, very insightful questions. I mean, it took us quite a while to keep pondering on that. So, thank you, and thank you, lovely audience. Thank you.
Can somebody help us to connect it with Professor Paldimutuji?
Yes, sir. I'm there, sir.
Yes, you are there, sir. Can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you very much for joining us online in spite of your busy schedule with the ministry, and we welcome you, sir. We are formally starting the session. Friends, in the first round, as I mentioned to you earlier, we have just completed our discussions and points with Madam Bharati Harishankar. Now we will go formally. Professor Aparchaji, what drew you personally to be the distinguished expert of home science, especially human development perspectives, and how does NDP align with early childhood education? Feel comfortable.
A very good afternoon to one and all present here, esteemed chairperson, Professor Ashok, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Kanipur University, my fellow panelists, other dignitaries of the dais, the delegates, participants, scholars, students, and the media persons. First of all, I must thank the organizer for having me here. I think I am the only home scientist here and because Madam Bharti is the Vice Chancellor of National Income, but again the subject is different. But I am so happy today to share as a home scientist, because in today's inaugural session, there are about 4 or 5 Vice Chancellors were there, other distinguished guests, Padma Shri were there. They have enlightened the home scientists about the home science discipline so very well in a scientific manner, and I am afraid that real home scientists have that amount of knowledge or wisdom. We need to really think here that as a home scientist, why the identity of a discipline is not up to the label. Although National Education Policy 2020 speaks of multidisciplinary and home science as a discipline, it's a multidisciplinary, multidimensional, multifunctional subject or discipline. But still, we are existing in silos. That integration is not possible, which the National Education Policy talks about. Here, I think one of the inaugural session has said that my experience as a home scientist Vice Chancellor, I can share when I assumed the Vice Chancellorship in a state public university back in Orissa. So everybody, faculties, teaching, non-teaching, everybody, students, scholars, oh, Madam Vice Chancellor, this is from the discipline of home science. I could able to feel from their gesture, posture, speech, I could able to feel that although they were not very overt enough. So, especially the science disciplines, faculties and the students, commerce, they think they are much, much better than that. So, Because, and there I feel definitely we are unable to project ourselves, our own identity. So what I did, because your action has to speak, not your speech. That's the action speaks volume. So I started doing the work as administrator, academician administrator. While doing so, in one of my lectures to my faculties, because the faculties need to be also understand what the subject is all about. So I started saying that home science is the mother of all sciences. Not all sciences, even we do have medical sciences in it, commerce, business studies, anything and everything in the world. So it is truly applied discipline for a better living, and it brings the gap between the scientific knowledge and practical application for individual, family and community well-being. And it is the discipline where there is a lot of possibilities. We can see a potential to achieve the national goal of becoming a developed India. Because Bharat by 2047, we are talking of, through its ability to reform. Because now we need not have to think of what home science has not done, but now we have to reform ourselves, we have to evolve as a discipline, and aligning with the National Education Policy 2020 to perform up to a level so that the transformation of India is possible. And here I would like to say and remind all the home scientists, all those who are present here, the core of home science education is family, quote and unquote. When the family is strengthened, the family means everybody from child, because especially in my discipline, that is the human development and family studies branches. So we study from womb to tomb, we call it. That is from birth till death, across the lifespan, the growth and development and the challenges, everything we study there. So when the core of home science education is the family, be it a nutrition, foods and nutrition, be it a family resource management, or child development, or extension education. So it takes the whole family into account. And in a country, in a state where the family is strengthened, the community is strengthened, and the nation is strengthened in this. And another important thing also I would like to mention here, that India ranks 134 in the Human Development Index. 134. And due to the challenges, especially like poverty, income and gender inequality, low healthcare access and education quality disparity. In education also quality disparity is there. So mainly these are the identified challenges have been found out where the human, because of which India is 134 index. And it's not that India has not progressed. Yes, in terms of the progress has been made in the literacy, life expectancy and economic growth, regional and social inequalities hinders the overall development. And India's human development journey, fueled by inclusive policies, improved life expectancy, education and economic empowerment, that requires a stronger focus on equitable and sustainable growth to achieve high human development status under the vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Vikas. Here comes the role of National Education Policy 2020, which will act as a tool for the improved development. And as you know, the NEP 2020 emphasizes on the multidisciplinary approach, nurturing young minds from early childhood to higher education, and strengthening the community-based learning, which are key areas within the human development and here I would like to also stress on this particular branch of home science has the immense potentials to utilize the countries, because India's demographic dividends of and also being the largest democracy. So these are the two important pointers on which the human development specialists can contribute a lot. To the other part of your thing, how NEP 2020 is aligned with the early childhood education, here I would like to say that the focus of, for the first time in the Indian Institute of Educational Policy, the early childhood education has been taken into consideration for the first time. And that is a milestone, and 6 important synergies I see in this. That is the foundational stage, which we have already been discussed, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Whether it is a food science, whether it is a human development, family resource management, extension, textile. So if you concentrate effort on these early stages, it is already there. But as I said, now we have to focus on this component of NEP 2020 early childhood education. And here, what is happening? It is, and next one is play-based learning. It is always there. Back, I think 45 years back when I was doing my master's, so that time we have been taught in our syllabus about the play-based techniques. So now we are talking in 2020, we can talk of, and till now also we have not adopted it in many of the daycares or even the Anganwadi government-run Anganwadi centers. And because this policy moves away from the rote learning, no more that rote learning earlier it was there, to the play-based and discovery-based learning, promoting the holistic development of the young child. Here I would like to share some of my experiences. You can think of Germany after the Second World War, what was the condition? After the Second World War, the whole country has been devastated. But they gave the focus on the child capital. That time, because mostly the adults were male were there in the war, and the women are only there to earn the bread and look after the children. And so government policy took the early childhood education immediately after. The importance of early childhood education, Government of India is thinking now, because first 6 years of child life, 85% of the brain development takes place. Now we are considering the importance in 2020. But Germany has taken, now you think what has happened there. So they have invested more on the child capital during that time. So discovery-based learning and promoting the holistic development of the children. Then curricular and pedagogy also has been given the importance in the early childhood education, and for the information of all the young researchers, you know that NCRT, New Delhi, now is developing a national curriculum and pedagogical framework for children under 8. It is still in the process, and mainly the target areas is to not only the focus is on cognitive, social, emotional, physical, motor development, along with literacy, numeracy, and cultural and artistic appreciation. So we have to go deep into it, and as a human development specialist, I can say, you just can't say it is important, but how it is important. When we talk of care and education, care means it's both physical, mental, so care has a broader sense, you have to think, and the education and how it should be. And of course, the policy, the national education policy aims to improve the infrastructure, nutrition, and teacher training in existing Anganwadis centers, converting them into a high quality and safe learning environment, which the other Western world has done long before, because especially it is the need of the day, because now in India the dual earner families are there. The mother is also working. So where she is going to, whether it is a labor class or in the high class, when we have small babies, if there is no proper center to live, so how the early years will be taken care of. And of course, the language policy is there, everything has to be given in the mother tongue. So that is there in the national education policy, which also been included in the early childhood care and education. And finally, this implementation strategy of early childhood education can be strengthened, because now we have a standard alone. Anganwadis are there. Anganwadis co-located in the primary schools. There pre-primary schools sections are there, and standalone preschools are there. So it can be implemented through this once this curriculum model is there. So throughout the country, so it can be implemented, because the ultimate goal of National Education Policy 2020 to ensure that all the children entering the grade 1, standard class 1 are school ready. That is the important, so that the dropout rate can be reduced. So that is the main thing. And here the role of the human development, especially home scientists in general and human development specialists in particular, has a very important role to play. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for a very elaborate explanation of both human development and child education. Thank you very much. Now, I have the pleasure of inviting Professor Palanimuthu. Professor V. Palanimuthu is the Director, NIFTEM Tanjavur. He brings about 3 decades of experience in agricultural engineering, food technology. Sir, can you hear me now? Hello, Professor Palanimuthu?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. So I would request you to share your viewpoints as a food technologist, as a director of a leading national institute, how research institutions should create linkages in food security with national education policy in the new era of research innovations. I would request you to share your views, your experiences with this August gathering.
Thank you very much, sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor and also long-time friend and and today's chair. And of course, I just saw Professor he just left for probably some reason. I know her also very well. Professor Chaudhary, Honorable Vice Chancellor from Ramadevi Women's University, and the Director Bangalore. Thank you very much for the university for inviting me to have my thoughts. Sir, I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Somebody has switched on the mic, that's why I am giving a disturbance. Anyway, I am here to congratulate the Mysore and the former and other team members who really thought of at this point, I will say right time, discuss about ecological sustainability and community to NAET, aligning the home science education research. I am specifically asked my thoughts on how we can contribute research and from research institution along, for food security. There are 3 terms here in the question. There is food security, there is NAET, then new era of research innovations. All should contribute to food security and in the light of from the mirror of home science. That's what I have to link and all these matters. When you talk about food security for any country, for food security, not only you use that is not sufficient. The India produces all the food requirements technically. On paper it produces enough. You talk about agriculture produce grains and other things, now there is 55 million tons, agriculture another 398 million tons, then you have meat production 25 million tons, all other put together, about 1,200 million tons really, close to that. Yeah, and other things we have enough production at this point of time. But the distribution is really a challenge in this country. Of course, food security, it is not a term it is applicable to all citizens of this country. Food security means we have to feed every citizen of the country a wholesome, nutritious food. That is very minimum required, and this can be possible only if research, education, and then of course the capacity building, transfer of technology, training, all put together, it works in tandem. Then only it is possible. Here in this context, I will just highlight few points. Can you talk? Equitable distribution. This might be due to challenges. There are some challenges which can be mitigated. The distribution from government or other side, it can be mitigated. But we have a large food illiterate population. And I'm talking about specific to food illiterate, not illiterate population, food illiterate population, who are bent upon eating a non-nutritious food even though they cannot. And we have a very poor knowledge about food hygiene, safety, by the large section of the population. We have to really take the correct message to these people. We have to educate them, train them, and scientific knowledge about food and nutrition. This is really a very big challenge. Who can do it? That is a point. There are a lot of stakeholders here. Of course, both sides is the earliest people who were working on food science and nutrition. Though they have multidisciplinary, even each discipline in the both side multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary in multidisciplinary context. That is really a different kind of problem. In that context, NAP 2020 and Dr. Bharati must have talked. I didn't hear it because probably on the YouTube channel it comes a delayed speech. And I could not hear much from both the speakers. My thought here is we have in home science you have one discipline, one area where food science and nutrition is very, very important. Probably the most important in that all 4 or 5 disciplines you have inside home science is food science and nutrition, where a tremendous things can be done on the population plan. Now, one thing is when you talk about food security, this is what I have. When you talk about research, and innovation, if you look at the problem, we had a problem of iodine deficiency. What we did, we introduced universal salt fortification program. And that was highly successful throughout this country, and I reduced the problem of diet and everything. We have a very big problem of anemia in this country, and without deficiency, one area deficient, other area is excess. And I will come to that point a bit later. When you say deficiency, anemia is one of the important problems. We can handle. These are all due to not equitable distribution and awareness problem.
ಬ್ರೈಟ್ನೆಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಲೈವ್ ನೀವು ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಸಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇರೋರು ಒಂಚೂರು ಇದು ಥರ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ನೀರಿನ ಒಂಚೂರು ಹತ್ರ ಹೇಳ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ಹೀಗೆ ದೂರದವರೇ
in the milk, maybe in the oil also vitamin E fortification is coming up in big way, and we are really doing a lot of work. Our data Tanjavur, we have already started this maybe in a couple of months, that it will be maybe functional. The central vessels of fortification, especially targeting
these two items, flour and oil. Maybe we will add rice fortification for iron deficiency also along with that. And these things are all come because of research and R&D development. All of research is gone. 30 years, a lot of R&D has gone into it. And finally, we are, these R&D research, whatever we got, it is coming for the service of the large population, large community. Community nutrition is possible. No, only when the government takes up the challenge, one. Number two, we the academicians and the R&D people associated with that, we all collectively address this as a national issue. And we have to unite together. I can quote many other things as well. In case of another important aspect is educating the people, citizens and large. This is really a big challenge. We have, I think, 60 or 70, the last count we have about 80 by agricultural institution, universities or institution. We strongly have taken up success, maybe we can name a different name. Earlier it was a home time, 4-year program. Now they have changed to community science. The name of the degree changed to community science. Still, some of the universities, food science and nutrition only. And the University of Mysore, we have a very well-known institution for food science and nutrition for a long time. They are very areas getting started in this area. I appreciate, the dialogues of that university like Dr. Jamna Prakash and other people. There are many people, I need not emphasize all. They have done a lot of work. The program, ionization program came because of the tremendous effort by our, these actually, Oakland, this working on Dr. Keynote, and our effort in the website really made that program possible. And that means we have a lot of opportunities. FSSI panels, FAD panel on nutrition and community nutrition, another program. And then we have tasks cut out. We have to do a lot more. Suppose we really want to take that result to that level and convince the government to implement such program. Our R&D should be really good. We talk about alternate proteins now. Alternate proteins because many people are trying to go to vegan side, vegetarian side. See, I am an vegetarian 6-7 years back. Now I am a pure vegetarian. Of course, your Japanese is a pure vegetarian, as far as I know. These people require good amount of protein with the regular food. I don't think really it can be given. You have to eat large quantity of dal. Even meat eaters also don't get enough protein, 1 gram per gram, 1 kg body weight. I don't think we are eating that much protein in this country. How to give it? We have to find maybe food supplement. It's the problem. This is the research area, this research which really a very good result that it can be implemented. That have to be taken to that level, nutrition. Then the result should be acceptable at large among the scientific community. Then only it is possible. Any alternate protein or phytonutrient. Phytonutrients is an area, I am telling you, it's not a new area, but it is coming in a worldwide new bottle. New food ingredients which we use to make many processed food products. New food ingredients, we have to process them. These are research areas. For that, many engineering interventions also come. There are many non-thermal processing which come, which preserve the nutrition in the natural food item. So these are research innovation that is coming with the So you want to have a nutritious food, which is from our knowledge. If you process through high pressure processing, definitely you have much more nutrition and more better flavor, better everything better. Instead of going through processing, heat thermal processing side. So new innovations are coming up, and even the fortifications like encapsulation and other areas. Now the whole science group. Because there are textile group and family group, there are many 4-5 groups, and this one group is science and nutrition. Maybe they are about influencing about 10-20% of the whole science group. This, I'm happy that for in the NAP 2020, we have changed this home science involved in by and large in the general university 3-year program. Now it is made as a 4-year program. If the people are interested, there are other things required. I really say that this group has to come. Technologies. We do offer free technology program in multiple disciplines, whereas even many IITs, we are having MOU, we are coming for information how to start technology program there. But universities have still PhD, home science or BSc computer science or BSc science and nutrition. The earliest one, food science and technology degree was offered by Parbani, University of Agricultural University Parbani, one of the oldest institute which started this technology program. Of course, there are other institutions, the research area of pitching in, and we can really help our citizens to have better nutritious food. We can solve the problem of obesity, lifestyle diseases like diabetes and other issues. It can be solved but through food only. Just I am attending some sessions for last 1 month. Because of the phytonutrient and the supplement, food supplement, you can completely bring the people from diabetes to normal state without that is really wonderful thing that can be done, and we have large, job to large job cut out for us, and I'm sure that lot of opportunities are available, and thank you very much for inviting me. Maybe again I can come back for the question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for sharing wonderful insights about this. Now I would request Dr. Arindam Das, who brings over 3 decades of experience in academic leadership, and he was Director of National Institute for Fashion Technology. Sir, I have a very interesting question for you. What is the biggest challenge that's being faced while integrating NEP into textile curricula and also to promote sustainable fashion education? This is my first point. And the second point is, with regard to again, dye management in textile labs. How do you look at the zero wastage pattern making, water and dye management in the labs? Maybe based on your experience, I would request you to throw light on this.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok, and with your permission, although this is a conference for home scientists, I'll try to take the permission to take it beyond the realm of home science, because home science in isolation or any discipline cannot exist. And in the context of the NEP, there are 4 keywords, which is vocational education, and again, which is much misinterpreted in India. When we speak of vocational education, normally we have parents coming and saying, I don't want my child to be a plumber or an electrician or a carpenter. But we know that vocational education goes much beyond that. One key pillar of the NEP is the vocational education. The second is flexibility. Third is holistic education, and the fourth is multidisciplinary. I'll come back to that, but when we talk about multidisciplinary, we talk about interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. Believe me, these are not interchangeable terms. These have all their own context. If I may prepare a hierarchy, at the lowest you will find interdisciplinary, then multidisciplinary, and transdisciplinary. And when we discuss the NEP, I will come with some examples. It is very important to know that in the current education scenario all over the world, a formal education no longer guarantees a job. And we have seen that emergence period happening both in terms of supply and demand. The second important point which NEP tries to formulate is lifelong learning. And we have to remember that lifelong learning is not a destination, it's just the entry point. And coming back to an example, when the NEP came up in 2020, and if we talk about Srishti Manipal, we were kind of surprised because we found that we had been doing in terms of flexibility and transferability and multidisciplinary, we had been doing it much before the NEP came into effect. How do we do it? It's the unique design, it's the unique pedagogy we have. For example, we work in cycles. We have 3 cycles per semester. None of the subjects run through the semester. The first cycle is normally about the understanding according to the level. It could be understanding pegged to the foundation level, or it could be understanding pegged to the 4th year understanding. The second cycle is all about practical implementation of what you have learned. And the third cycle is, going into the field or working with the industry or designers in terms of what they have learned in the first 2 cycles. And we also have a lot of electives, about 40 to 50% of the course. The student does not have to learn. The student will pick what he or she wants to learn. And that's a big difference. So, and the beauty is that a UG student can pick from a bouquet of PG electives, and a PG student can pick from a bouquet of UG electives. So the challenge for the faculty in a mixed cohort is to arrive at the aspirations of each student. And the third important part is that when you choose these electives, and we are talking of flexibility, and the underlying word is flexibility, which again is a big problem with the NEP. I'll come to that later. So when you choose your electives, it's not like a hobby course. It's not because you're just interested, you're a film student, you want to understand more about textiles. No, it's not that. The key point is that you learn through these electives and you bring it back to your core domain and apply it. In that sense, it becomes truly transdisciplinary. And coming back to the NEP, I think the biggest point is the flexibility problem. If I am not wrong, a very, very low percentage of institutions have actually registered for the academic bank of credits. So the intent is there, but the transferability of credits remain a problem. When I was at NIF Shillong, we had an agreement with IIM Shillong. It was a great agreement, but then we kind of got lost in terms of how to transfer the credits. And it's not in terms of the transfer of credits, in terms of flexibility, but also the infrastructure. We may have exit and entry points. At this moment, these are only facilitators. We need to convert them into strategy. And if we need to convert them into strategy, then we need to find out that when a student moves from one course or from one institution to another, the infrastructure and the facilities must be similar. We understand they cannot be exact, but they must be similar, otherwise the learning is affected. So what is important for us to address the challenges of NEP is to have hands-on training for faculty and students, get them involved in real-life projects, have close association with the industry, and have and promote AI in regional languages. That's very, very important. I think these are the cornerstones of what we have to address in terms of the NEP. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arindam. We will move to the next point. Madam Aparjita, I would request you to quickly respond to my question. What experiential learning modules, for example, we may talk about vermicomposting in the rural context, we may talk about eco-textile designs. I mean, based on your experience, which of them have proven more effective in your programs? I would request you to quickly respond on this.
Yes, I'll just take, especially in my university and a few of my other universities in the state of Odisha, and especially we have adopted in home science, we have adopted especially in our undergraduate and postgraduate programs, particular program which I feel that it is also helping and it is aligning with the National Education Policy 2020. There is a promoting family resiliency. That is promoting family resiliency for the sustainable development. When we talk of sustainable development, and it has to be pro-people, pro-nature, pro-employment, pro-women, pro-family, and one that paved the way for the future collective welfare, or the collective welfare. So that is the sustainable development, and through these, the focus now is on human nature, behavior and thinking, which is radically changing due to the, right now the ecosystem we are having, especially in India. And in this context, so the family resiliency approach which we have developed, this particular program, is in education, in training, in research also we are trying to use this so that we have to do the curricular upgradation, curricular redefining. In the practical components also we are trying to integrate it in the outreach activities, extension activities. And most important thing is the teachers has to be unique. The teacher has to understand. The teacher training is very important. Sometimes teacher training is very important. And in this context, they need to be upgraded also. And because I'm not going to be mostly on the why it is required, but family resiliency approach is the only way when we can achieve the sustainable development goals. And because we see the fractured families now. Society is fractured, country is fractured, and the world is in a very disorganized and disordered. So we feel as a human development specialist, and this is the only way if we can just teach all the family members, be it a child, be a woman, adult, because I'm not saying that only women have the responsibilities of the family. And that is why I always advocate that home science should be for both male and female. Very few university has already introduced for the, in Orissa also in one university they have introduced for the male faculty, male students also. So the family means it's the male and female. So what we can say is in the earlier days, the family values, ethos, whatever it was there, the behavior, the acharan and ucharan, whatever it was there, now we cannot expect the same thing. In the evolving society, definitely, we need the Indian families are in trouble. And in one of the conferences in Norway, I was attending, a German professor was presenting a paper when I was chairing the session, and his paper was on family, the treasure of India. I will not say more on that. So you can imagine when the family is intact, so everything is intact. When we talk of develop India by 2047, so we need to think in this, and promoting family resiliency means it is the path which we follow, adapt and prosper in the face of stress. Now the dual learner families are there, so everybody says that we are under pressure. Every individual level, family level, and the community level, in the professional manner. So the family resiliency model or the approach has to be adopted, which means it is under stress. You work, and once the stress goes, you bounce back. That is called the bouncing back on that. So there are different ways how to build the family resiliency, the approach is there. I'm not going to go in detail, but the situation which creates the stress, there are various situations which creates the family stress. By adopting this family resiliency approach, definitely we can have the family sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Arinda, what's one curriculum gap that you find in sustainability training and how this can be addressed? I want a quick response on this.
Actually, there are two points. One is that collectively we place only a cursory focus on environment. For example, rainwater harvesting is mandatory in many states and cities, but not made much headway. If we look at our top urban cities, they're some of the dirtiest in the world. And we don't know much about landfills. For example, fashion and textiles is the second most highest polluter in the world, in terms of the waste products. Many people will be shocked to know that cotton is not an eco-friendly product because it destroys the soil on which it is grown. So one is that the impact, the awareness about the environment. And the secondly, in terms of education, I think generally we have a very theory-heavy curriculum. We need to encourage students and faculty to get more projects, get more real life. So it's to understand what is creating this environmental impact. And this awareness is not a 10+2 concept, it's not a graduation concept, it's not a corporate concept. This awareness must start at the school level. as a way of life that, the future doesn't look very promising to us. And many scientists have said, for example, in terms of water, we have already reached the point of no return. We can only marginalize or keep it, within limits. But these are the realities, so I think the important point is that more awareness about the environmental impact and a more real-life approach to education.
And I have a quick connected question as far as community engagement is concerned for you. With limited resources and inequity around us, what type of community project would you suggest to scale nationwide?
I think the biggest project would be, like I said just now, about creating awareness. That's very, very important. I mean, we can look at different kinds of projects like rainwater harvesting or things like that. But it's much more than that. It's the awareness which we have to create. And we have to look at successful models, national or global. And looking at these models may not be sufficient. We must break them down into local requirements. That is very, very important, because I think in one of the sessions earlier in the morning, somebody mentioned that the local requirements will vary, will be different from place to place. So we cannot have one size fits all. We'll look at successful models, like I said, national or global, and tune it to the local requirements. And I think it's very important to develop soft skills. And resource management has to be a way of life. So if we can focus on these things, I think it will be a big step in reducing the gap in the curriculum.
And if I have to now get your inputs on research and innovation related aspects, I have a quick question for you. For the next 5 years, what breakthrough in resource management and textile sciences will redefine the ecological sustainability?
Okay, I keep it into 3 years, because 5 years in today's context is a long time. It's like a lifetime. Even 1 year is very long. I have some points here I'd like to share with you. The first thing is that textiles must move beyond the fashion period and must move into futures. That's very, very important. We look at textiles and fashion only in terms of design, but it has a lot of applications in terms of fiber arts, computational weaving. We must look at smart materials, biodegradables. We must look at agricultural waste. This is the way in the future the textiles will have to move. In terms of the portfolio of uses has to widen and deepen in terms of across all sectors, not just for fashion or lifestyle. And the other thing is that people have been talking about circular economics. We must also focus on ethical co-creation. We talk about artificial intelligence very much, but we forget the other AI, which is artistic intelligence, which is very, very important in retaining our cognitive skills. And if we did not need cognitive skills, if we could rely on only on AI, then this symposium or this conclave or BDIS program or BTEC program would become meaningless. All we have to do is maybe give a prompt and press a button, and the artificial intelligence would give us an answer. But that would be a very predictable and boring world. So I think, and it's very important to look at, I think if I were there to say so, close your eyes for 15 seconds and tell me any object or process in your personal or professional lives which does not have design. 15 seconds is all I ask. Can you name one object or process which does not have design? Design is not just about aesthetics and color and form. It's about the impact we make, the social impact, the financial impact, the cultural impact. So I think the future in terms of research will have to take all these factors into mind.
Thank you. Professor Pandit, I have a question for you. A quick question.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree that home science should lead Sustainable Development Goal 13? That is, we talk about climate action. Should it partner